Number 61 makes it to the first lead. Number 55 almost makes it to the second lead. And number 56 couldn't make it to the finish line. Looks like he has an injury which causes him to fall. Number 56 is then put down immediately after the race because he is no longer seen to be useful. These words are the commentators who work in the racing industry. I am sure you guys have heard of greyhounds wearing colourful numbers, banners, running to death to make it to the finish line on TV, at home, or even at shopping centres. The commentator yelling at the positions of dogs and people watching it enthusiastically hoping that greyhounds they betted on their last pennies on wins. This horrible sport that is legal in Australia is called greyhound racing, where greyhounds are trained to death and abused just so that humans can have entertainment in their life whilst drinking a couple of beers with their mates. This problematic and unethical sport must be banned in Australia. When groundhogs get injured or falls during a race, which is very common as they collide on lethal turns, these greyhounds is immediately put down when they fell on a racing track. A needle is then inserted into their vein and euthera solution is slowly injected into their bloodstream, and in approximately 10 seconds the greyhog is reported as dead. Their eyes remain open as their dead body is carried away and disposed of. According to Sydney Morning Herald Sun News, a total of 17,000 greyhogs are killed every year in Australia. This is not right. These poor dogs are getting killed because they don't have the potential to run fast or because of an injury that can easily be treated. This strategy that greyhounds industry is using is not right, and it must be changed now. Because before the race even begins, greyhounds are constantly exposed to trauma as they are kept in cages barely large enough for them to turn around or stand. They stand in small cages for up to 23 hours per day. Not every dog can run fast, so to find the perfect greyhound that satisfies the racing industry requirements, breeding is needed. 40% of greyhounds bred in Australia every year are surplus to requirements. These 11,000 innocent greyhounds are labelled as initial wastage, and they get rid of them, just like losing a lottery ticket. They even abandon, enthuse, or abuse these greyhounds, as they are seen as another mouth to feed or unprofitable. Greyhound racing is inhumane, it is cruel, and it is not right. It causes both mental, physical suffering, and action should not be taken to stop this brutal sport. One of the reasons why greyhound racing is in an inhumane sport is because it uses live baiting. Many of you guys may not know the term live baiting, right? According to RSPCA, live baiting is defined as a practice of using live animals for the purpose of greyhounds. Doesn't sound so bad, huh? Well, let me explain the process for you guys. Innocent, terrified, alive piglets, rabbits, and possums are tied to lures which are flung across a racetrack at breakneck speeds, while greyhounds are released to mule them to death. Muled to death meaning that they are killed by getting teared apart. This is the dark side of greyhound racing in Australia. Live baiting is illegal in Australia. However, there are some groundhog trainers using live baiting till this day. Live baiting is proven to be the best and most efficient way to train a greyhound, as it prepares them very well for a race. If this is the case, then why would greyhound trainers stop live baiting? Trust me, they will all do anything to prepare their greyhound well for the race, because in the end they will be winning money. See the problem? More and more innocent live animals are getting killed because of entertainment. Well-known groundhog trainers Reg Kay said that the sport is clean and live baiting was eliminated years ago. However, secret cameras captured them smashing into baby possums' heads so that the blood can attract greyhounds as they are performing live baiting. This is horrible. This is a horrible activity. Also, possums leaves trauma for greyhounds. People who have adopted retired greyhounds tend to resort to their dog being very aggressive around birds, as it triggers their brain because of the harsh training method that was used on them. If we can put greyhound racing to a race, if we can put an end to groundhog racing, live baiting will also come to a stop. If I'm being completely honest with you, I'm not a huge fan of dogs. This speech isn't because of my session of dogs. This whole greyhog racing is unethical to me. It's pointless because it harms both the dogs and supporters. Now, when I say supporters, I'm referring to gambling. The racing industry's primary goal is to generate and promote gambling income. According to savings.com.au, there is a total of 6.8 million regular gamblers in Australia. That includes casinos, scratch tickets, betting on animal racing. Gambling isn't just losing money, it affects individuals' self-esteem, their life, work and relationships. Australians bet their last penny on greyhound racing that they hope they will win the race so they can get more money and more profit from it. And if the dog they betted on ends up losing, they lose their money too. I mean, how funny does it sound? The racing industry is so bankrupt that it works so hard to make a penny from bankrupting its own supporters. Therefore, greyhound racing should be banned as it harms its supporters. Now, if a miracle happens and the racing industry gets banned, there are lots of workers who still lose their jobs. This includes trainers, owners, volunteers and breeders. It's this simple. The government can pay them an amount that will get them going until they find a new job. I am sure the government can easily do this. I mean, the New South Wales government contributed $500,000 to a prize money, so that I don't see an issue of the government struggling to give pension to these workers. If the government has created this awful, cruel, inhumane racing, then it's their duty to tidy this mess up.